Hello everybody and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be continuing my Star Wars review series with Solo: A Star Wars Story. Yes, I'm aware that the last time I made a video, there was a Christmas tree right here, and I just made a little video on Thanksgiving showing you guys how I'm decorating my tree. And I sat down and I'm here to film a video, and I was just not feeling it. It looked way too crowded back here because I do film in like a little corner of my room. So I moved the Christmas tree, and yeah, this is what we're stuck with. I did put Baby Yoda, or how we now call him, Grogu. Don't know how I feel about that, but he's still Baby Yoda to me. And my grandma made him some Christmas clothes, so he will be chilling right there in the meantime. But yeah, I'm back reviewing Star Wars, and I know last week I did Empire and now I'm at Solo, but I just decided that I'm gonna do the ones that I haven't reviewed yet in chronological order in the Star Wars timeline. So that means Solo, the next one is Rogue One, and then I'm gonna start with the first Star Wars movie and go on from there. And I'm very excited to be reviewing Star Wars. I've been having a lot of fun rewatching these, and I had a blast rewatching Solo, and I cannot wait to talk about it. So without further ado, I'm about to start reviewing it, but I just want to put out a spoiler warning. If you have not seen this movie, I highly recommend watching it. It's streaming on Disney Plus if you guys have that. But yeah, let's just get on with the review. Young Han Solo finds adventure when he joins forces with a gang of galactic smugglers and a 190-year-old Wookiee named Chewbacca. In debt to the gangster Dryden Voss, the crew devises a daring plan to travel to the mining planet Kessel to steal a batch of valuable coaxium. In need of a fast ship, Solo then meets Lando Calrissian, the owner of the perfect vessel for the dangerous mission, the Millennium Falcon. Overall, I just really like this movie, and I think this movie gets a lot more hate than I think it deserves, and I feel like they just tried too hard to compare this movie to what Harrison Ford did as Han Solo, and I will get more into that in the future. But this was actually the first Star Wars movie that I saw in theaters, and because of this movie I really got into Star Wars, because this movie was coming out like May 2018, I believe. I had never seen Star Wars before, and I was kind of late to the party to watch Star Wars. And this movie was coming out, and I was like, you know what, maybe it's a chance that I watch all of Star Wars just in time to see this at the theaters. And then I ended up seeing this like a month later in June, after I had finished rewatching all of the Star Wars that were out yet. And I just had a blast with this, and I always have a lot of fun, and this is like one of those comfort movies that whenever I'm like not in a good mood, I would really like to watch this, or I'll look up scenes, because it's just a lot of fun. And I think you can tell that everybody working on the movie was having fun, at least in my opinion. And a huge reason why the movie's made enjoyable is because of the characters and the cast, which I think they're all really great. And it goes from the ones we're familiar with like Han, Lando, Chewie, to the ones we just met in this movie, especially Kira. I think she's an awesome character, and I definitely want to see more of her. And right at the start, the movie doesn't take long to introduce us to Han Solo, and you know, he's doing what he knows best, running away from something. And I did notice, which this is a little like negative that I'm throwing at the movie, it's a very dark movie, like a very dark lit movie, especially at the beginning. The lighting is so strange to me, and it's like not appealing at all, because there are many movies that use dark lighting, but I feel like this one just looks odd. And I don't know if it was just me, because I had never noticed this, especially at the beginning all the way until it goes to war at the very start of the movie, like the first 15-20 minutes. It is just very dark, but like a gray dark. I wonder if anybody else has noticed that. And like throughout the movie, it kind of goes away, but I do see some gray undertones. Like there's some very weird coloring things going on. Again, I don't know if it's just me and I'm just being a little bit too nitpicky, but I did notice it last time I saw it. And Alden Ehrenreich is really good as Han Solo, and I think he gets a lot of hate for no reason in my opinion. I honestly feel very bad for him, because he is put into this position where people are going to, even without thinking, compare him to Harrison Ford as Han Solo, because obviously Harrison Ford is so well known for playing the character of Han Solo. Sure, he's not the greatest actor in the world, but I honestly think he did a really good job in this. Gave to me at least a Han Solo performance. Towards the end, I feel like he started molding into what the Han Solo we saw in A New Hope and Empire and Return of the Jedi is.
All I gotta do is give him the signal, you're surrounded.
I don't know if it's just me, but I do see that progression from the beginning to the end, and I think that's fine. And I don't know if it's true, but I read an article, and Harrison Ford apparently called Ron Howard after watching the movie and saying that, you know, he liked it and that the actor really made it his own.
You know, I've met the fella that's going to play the younger Han Solo. Yeah. Wonderful guy, very sweet, and a very good actor. So yeah. I'm delighted in the choice.
Awesome. I'm glad to hear it.
And then we also meet Kira right away, and we get to know that Han and Kira are in a relationship, and I really liked that actually, and I think it's kind of a risk because we're so used to Han Solo and Leia, and I liked seeing him with somebody else, and I feel like it really shapes the relationship he has in the future with Leia. And for sure, I'm still a Han and Leia for life. Like, they're literally one of the best couples ever. But Han and Kira here actually had really good chemistry, and I feel like they both complemented each other really well, and the actors did a really good job, and also the writing for the movie was really well, and it made me genuinely care about their relationship going into the movie, that they're not going to end up together. It kind of hurts, at least in my opinion, because you hear them talk about how they want to spend so much time together, especially Han Solo, and then you, the viewer who knows how things are going to end up, you're like, hey dude, you're gonna have to get over her because that's not how things are gonna go. I'm gonna transition into, I think, the biggest negative that I have with this movie, and it's just that we already know what's gonna happen. My main issue with it is the lack of tension. I feel like it's really hard to add tension to a movie when we already know the outcome, because when they were doing the Kessel Run and things were going really crazy and, you know, the movie kind of wanted you to worry for them, I personally was not at all worried just because I know how things are gonna end up. When Lando got shot in one of the battles, and even stuff with like Han and Kira, like I was just talking about, I know they're not gonna end up together, so this movie was just kind of confirming everything that I already knew was gonna happen. And I do have to say that I feel like the movie didn't take enough risks with this, because I feel like they could have tried a little harder to do something that, you know, we didn't really know about, because I feel like every single part of this movie was something that we already knew about, and they really didn't, like, you know, develop it enough, if that makes any sense. Like, I didn't get a groundbreaking answer to it. Some of it just felt very simple in the writing, in my opinion. Like, they could have, I think, gone a little deeper. For example, at the very beginning of the movie, we learn he gets his last name because an Imperial guard says, oh, who are your people? And Han just says, I'm alone. And then the guard is like, okay, so Han Solo. And it's something, again, that I'm mixed on, because the first time I saw the movie, I thought it was funny. I thought it was like a cute way to do it, a different way to do it. But now I'm just kind of like, I feel like maybe, imagine if they had introduced us to like his family just a little tiny bit. But I mean, I guess we'll never know. So yeah, that's just basically my big negative with it. I just kind of wish they would have gone a little deeper, because everything that they kind of showed us, we already knew was gonna happen. But like I said, I do really enjoy this movie, and something that I really love that this movie really deals with is that Han Solo is the good guy, and Kira says it multiple times, and I think it's a really awesome way to like talk about Han Solo as a character. In the original trilogy, we're so used to him being very like full of himself. He's almost like mad at everybody and pissed off, and like if somebody doesn't do something his way, he just gets really annoyed, and that's a really big trait of his. And I have seen some criticism that this movie kind of doesn't really talk about that, but I feel like people have to remember that this is, I think, 5 to 10 years before A New Hope. I could be wrong, like somebody correct me down in the comment section, but after the events of this movie, you can really tell why Han Solo became the person he was. I mean, he was betrayed. The person he loved the most, or he thought he did, basically left him, and he had no idea why. And with the whole idea about the good guy, I really like that, because, you know, I do think Han Solo is a good guy, and when you talk about it in like the original trilogy, sure, yeah, at the beginning he was in it for the money, like that's a whole thing that he was talking about, but he stayed with them and he continued helping them, and you can see that there's more to Han Solo than just being the asshole, basically, which I feel like is a big character trait of his. So I like that idea that Han Solo is a good guy, because I've been thinking about it for a very long time since I've seen Star Wars, and I'm glad that this movie mentioned that too, because I think it's a really awesome way to talk about his character. Half of what I just said was not written in my notes, but I hope I made sense, you know? And something that I don't hear people talking often about with this movie is actually the musical score. Oh my gosh, but really, John Powell did a really good job on the score. That's really good. Like, I would genuinely put that up there with Across the Stars. Across the Stars is my favorite Star Wars theme, like, ever. But it's just so good, and he did a really good job. Something else that I really have to praise about this movie is how Han and Chewie met. I thought it was really awesome, and I didn't expect it at all, because the first time I was watching this movie and they were gonna take him to like get eaten or something, I was like, oh damn, that sucks for him. I had no idea it was gonna be Chewie, and then it was Chewie, and then Han Solo speaking Wookiee. Like, that's so funny.
Yeah, I speak a little now, just listen.
And when I was talking about the performances earlier, I didn't even mention my favorite one, Donald Donald Glover as Lando, and he did an amazing job, and he truly made it his own, and I absolutely had a blast with his character alongside the droid he's with. I thought she was really funny. I just really liked Lando in this movie and Lando's relationship with Han. You can definitely see how the characters that we met in this movie ended up being the ones we saw in Empire, and I love Lando, and I thought Donald Glover did an amazing job. And I'm back talking about Qi'ra because I just think she's a really bright spot of this movie, and I do really wish we got a show of her at some point or something. I do recommend a book, and I'm gonna pull it out for you guys right now. Everything just fell back here, didn't it? Oh gosh.
12 seconds later.
I fixed it. So, I have this book, and I got it after watching the movie because I just really enjoyed the movie. And this book kind of talks more about, you know, stuff that the movie doesn't talk about, because this is before the movie begins, so it's like a little prequel to the prequel. And I recommend this book because it also makes Qi'ra really interesting. But what I was gonna say, I love the whole mystery with her, and at the very end, it's so cool what they did. Like I was mentioning before, the movie does struggle with we already know what's gonna happen, and there's not really much surprises. I'm gonna contradict myself because I was very surprised at the end with Darth Maul and all of that. Like, that whole scene was so shocking, and I would just love to see what happens after, because I think they did such a good job at not really giving us anything about Qi'ra, which in movies it could be annoying when they don't reveal much about the character because we don't really know much about her, but at the same time I feel like that makes her so interesting. So I think they should really develop something. And I've got to talk about a moment that I also really like at the very end, right before the movie ends, when Han Solo shoots Beckett.
I hope you're still paying attention, because now I'm going to tell you the most important.
It was a little nod to like, I shot first, because yeah, Han Solo did shoot first. And yeah, I just really adore this movie. I do have flaws with it, like I said, but again, it still makes me really happy, and it's just like going along an adventure with Han Solo. It's honestly just a really good time, and I'm going to give this movie a B+. Thank you so much for watching my review. I would love to know what you guys have to say about Solo: A Star Wars Story. If you enjoyed it, if you didn't enjoy it, if you felt it was unnecessary, please let me know down in the comment section. And thank you so much for watching today's video. I really do appreciate it. Make sure to subscribe to my channel if you're not subscribed yet. I post weekly videos, and yeah, that's about it. I hope to see you guys next time. Stay safe, and I'll see you next time. Bye guys!